I seen some crazy stuff last week. We need to talk about headset locks. So the first thing I want to show is a lot of people don't really know what's going on here. A lot of people do. This is just a star nut in there. And all this really is in factory form is a way to set your bearing tension on your headset. And in factory form it's fine because there's a lot going on here. So once you tighten all of this, you've got a lot of strength here. But when we remove this to do, say, Warp 9 bar mounts, that is totally not enough to hold that together. So when we do the bar mounts, we're getting rid of this giant clamp that holds a lot of strength. And then these bar mounts just mount here. And we use these spacers, and we can put, let's see, you always want the smallest spacers down, the biggest spacers towards the top. And we get the same effect, right? But now this is holding all of the tension along with the little clamp on the tree. We've lost that strength that the stock bar mount gave us. So we that's why we get the Warp 9 Stemlock. And I've got a few things I need to show you on that one. Why we switched to it. Because that is just a star nut. Zoom in there if you can. And that'll actually move. If you try to crank this tight, it'll just move. This is the Warp 9. And what it does is it goes through the whole unit, clear down to here, and keeps our tension there. So it's a really good upgrade. Even on a stock bike, it's going to make it stronger. But when we go to this style of bar mount, we definitely need to use one of these. That being said, I've seen a lot of problems. If we zoom in on this, this is a brand new part right out of the package. And can we see that corrosion on those threads? That's because both of these parts are anodized aluminum. Now Warp 9 gives us anti-seize to put on these, but if you just slather the anti-seize on there and put it together, like most install videos I see, we're still seeing them get seized and we're still having to cut these and break these and replace them. So I'm going to show you my little trick for making sure that doesn't happen right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do like the anti-seize like they show you in most of the other videos. Now, most people will just say, okay, that's good, throw it in, assemble the bike. This is where we need to do a little extra step. I'm going to take this, and I'm actually going to use a power tool, and we're just going to run this in. See how little anti-seize is on the end of that after it's gone through the whole thing? Not much, huh? So I'm going to take this back out. I'm going to scoop this stuff back in the hole. Just kind of lather it up again. And I'm going to go again. Now we're looking better. And that'll work. Now we can assemble it. And you can even use a little rag, kind of clean up all the slop here. Everyone loves anti-seize, it gets everywhere, turns you into the Tin Man. But that little step will save you a lot of headache down the road. Because it won't become one, because the two anodized pieces, that anodization process is still happening. That's why we're anti-seizing it. And that was what I wanted to touch on that. The other thing is the strength. You really want that tight. So once we get it assembled, this is actually the bike that's going to get this stuff What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tighten that nut, hold on to the bottom with the crescent wrench, and I'm gonna tighten this. One more thing I forgot to mention, no impacts. Do this by hand. That's another reason this aluminum will gall and get stuck. Impact tools are great, not on this. Do this by hand. In fact, I recommend everything on this headset you do by hand. You can use impacts and power tools to take it apart, that's fine. But when we're going back together, we really don't want to use an impact, especially on aluminum. This whole unit in my hands right here is aluminum, there's no steel, so no impacts. I'm gonna have the front wheel off the ground. I'm gonna have these loose here, the upper tree. I'm gonna loosen those, and you kind of maybe want to hold something under there so the forks don't just drop out. Then you're gonna loosen this, and you're gonna get all your spacers set up, and you need to have a space. I've ran into this before, they've come in. This is how it needs to look, even with the spacers. You need this gap because you're pushing this down. And then with the spacers, same thing. When you set up the spacers, you want to have that space. See, now I don't have it there, so that's not gonna work. So we're gonna grab a different width here. And like I said, we always want the smallest spacers down first, the biggest ones towards the top. And it's still not there, so we're gonna put this on. There, I've attained that. That's enough space to get your bearing tight. I know what I did wrong, I forgot that one. Oh, that's even better. So that way there's room for it to pull this up and get the bearings tight. Now, tightening the bearing, there's a lot of different things out there I've seen how to do it. What I do personally, and this goes for motorcycles as well, I'll tighten it until I feel some resistance. When I feel a little resistance, I'll back it off just a little to where I don't feel the resistance anymore, and then that's it, we're good, we're tight. I just wanted to make this real quick because we've seen, like I said, we've seen some problems. I highly recommend the Stemlock on even a stock configuration bike. Just gives you that extra little protection when you're in there. And a lot of people are rolling around with loose head bearings. It's not fun, especially our off-road guys. I mean, this is an off-road bike, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. So hopefully that helps somebody. Hopefully it's a little more information that's out there. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments section. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.